Hey, welcome back. It's kind of weird how this whole coronavirus hit, and I mean, I guess it's been coming for a while, but suddenly it was something people started reacting to very aggressively, and preparing for, which I'm all on board with. Save as many lives as possible. I saw a fascinating graph, um, where someone was showing, if we didn't keep our distance, how the uh, basically like how fast things would accelerate if we still had big events and stuff like that, and how it would way overshoot how much hospitals can take in. And then the other side of that being, like, with people distancing themselves, we're still going to have a ramp up, and it's going to get to be a lot of people, and maybe even a similar number of people. But because it'll take longer for the disease to spread, hospitals will be able to handle the load. Um, so that was all just a fascinating little thing. But what was really interesting, well, at least for my weird psyche moment, is just having all that happen. And then basically it's like everything's shutting down, and the weather just goes from beautiful most of the winter to just like it's been cold and gloomy the last couple days. And as this has been happening, and it's such a weird like amplification of the mental stuff. um, anyway, um, also just another little side thing. I don't know if probably most people know who Anthony Padilla, who are watching YouTube, but I could be wrong. um, I'll link in the description to what I'm talking about. But he does a series where he talks about, or brings in people from different parts of life, or with different struggles in their life or whatever, just to connect people and make people more aware of what other people's lives were like in situations that you may not be familiar with. Um, I can't remember, but what it's called, but basically it's disassociated. I forget, but it's like what most of us think of it, the split personality thing that you probably have seen in media and stuff like that. And the interesting thing is, my understanding of that was completely movie based, and fairly inaccurate. And the parts that were accurate were the parts that were, I probably thought were the most like magical or unreal or something. Um, anyway, fascinating video he did. The part where the young personality, or the child personality, um, starts explaining what it's like. I broke down on that. um, and anyway, one of the people on that, um, I will link their channel as well. I got caught. I found out all of this out because it was trending on Twitter, because that girl Trish that sits on floors and gets upset about things, um, uh, made a not cool version, or not cool video, where, I mean, honestly, I didn't, you know, she's doing what is probably the more negative side, I think, of YouTube, where she's just exploiting a thing. It seems she's just exploiting a thing because she thinks if she says that thing, since it's trending right now, it'll get her a lot of views, which I don't think is always a bad thing. Obviously there's people that are, um, yeah, it's not a great thing. Anyway, that's a whole. I might do a video thinking about that, but so the thing I wanted to talk about today, which I actually don't have any idea what my conversation on this is going to be, but just a thing to think about. Um, Travis, my buddy, who I mentioned in a previous one, who is good at sound design, other things too, welding and stuff. I believe, actually, we did some welding a long time ago when we were kids. I don't know if he's kept up or anything. But anyway, he asked about how I felt things were going to progress as creative tools get more and more popular and expansive and accessible. And I to be honest, I don't know what I expect from that, really. I think the interesting thing is hopefully creative tools continue to connect people, and people continue to make platforms that bring out creative tools and help them connect with other creatives and things like that. It is interesting how much, because I'm obviously a huge fan of creative and people expressing themselves and connecting with other people, especially through art. It is interesting, though, how shockingly isolating it can be, too. And my hope is that creative tools becoming more accessible and getting out in the world connects people more than it isolates people. I think it's once you get a little bit of that like rush of the feeling of accomplishing something with a creative, sometimes you can get tunnel vision and just feel like that's all that matters, and that can really isolate you, as I spent a good chunk of my life doing. So there's that. But I do think obviously the great thing is just having more voices, more people talking, more people connecting, hearing more sides to things, and understanding like the depth of humanity and the expansive culture that is on this planet. And hopefully there's a lot of connecting through that stuff. It'll also be interesting, I kind of mentioned this in a previous video, how having things be very visible, we can see, not just visible, but done by a lot of people across the world. You can see trends happen and things that are popular as a natural thing. For instance, people standing in the doorway, leaning against the door and looking sad, is something that I saw in a lot of museums, or photography in museums. Occasionally would see at like some art gallery or something, and then when it shows up a whole bunch on media, then people might go, okay, I don't want to do the most simple version of this because I've seen it so much. How do I bring this more depth, or how do I do this in a different way? And it kind of forces people to shoot past the obvious side of creative. I think the interesting thing for me with making things, and making my shorts especially, is there's a little piece of me that is kind of excited to get past things. Like I feel like if I make 1,000 short films, I'll have traveled through parts of my brain, all the most shallow and surface parts of my brain, and traveled to these much deeper areas that I don't, that would be hard to access right away. And my thinking is that having more people around the world having access to art and creating art in new ways and interesting ways, that's more expanse of seeing that surface stuff and helping people expand past that and see what's deeper and what's the either more meaningful, or maybe not even more meaningful, sometimes more simple. Maybe simple's meaningful, I don't know, but more base. Oh, hold on. Cat, come here. Moose. Well, shoot. All right, well, my cat ran off, and that's a serious bummer. I'm gonna have to go deal with that now. Let's see, was there anything else I wanted to talk about this? Oh, the other thing, I guess, that is kind of cool, besides stuff I've talked about in the past about AI expanding creativity and making it more like just fluid dreaming, and having AI be able to create pieces of your art or lay out pieces of your art in ways that are already definitively exciting to humans because it has so much resource to look through every film ever or every picture ever or whatever and know exactly what people react positively to. Having that kind of that tool to start as a base is a cool thing. Once AI gets to that point, and then now the cat comes back. That's good. At least I don't have to deal with that. Welcome. But the other cool thing is just, I think there's going to be, in sort of the same way that this is probably a light example, but in the same way that things like podcasting have gotten easier, and people are starting like setting up tools and sharing information on how to do that. I think there's going to be other things that start becoming popular that are new creative outlets and new things that are going to have new tools created around them. Because if you have creative tools accessible to everyone, the entire planet, especially with like, what SpaceX's satellite's called? Skynet? No, not Skynet. Starlink? Yeah, Starlink, I think. Anyway, with the internet and creative tools and all this stuff being more accessible across the globe, you're just going to have more perspectives looking at art and trying new things in art and creating new things for people to try. And then when those new things show up, having just suddenly the whole globe be able to try that thing and find new ways to do that. So I think it's like this amazing new exploration in art that's going to come from that. Yeah, I think that's it for this video. I hope that made some sense. I was very all over the place in this one. Honestly, I'm feeling really just kind of all over the place right now. I think it's the gloomy weather tends to affect me pretty heavily. And then obviously the whole coronavirus situation, I'm worried about my family and stuff. It just kind of already was layering on top of all the other things that I have going in my head that are heavy and make me anxious and all that kind of stuff. Not to mention, Saul and I haven't been able to work on stuff for a few days, so that, and it's probably going to be a while now before we can. But we still have some stuff that we'll be putting up soon. We have a second music video. By the way, you probably saw it because it got more views than any of my vlogs, but and actually go watch it on Saw's channel. Don't even watch it on my channel. I want to get Saw's channel monetized so that her channel's monetized. She's got a kid, she got other people to take care of. Other person. Yeah. So go do that. Go watch her video. Check out our music video. We got another music video coming out. The release date, I think we set for the 25th. I actually have no idea. I'd have to look that up. Maybe I'll put it in the description. And we have a second episode of Devil May Care. We keep being done with it and then we keep messing with it. So now Saw's making an intro for it using some footage I shot around Venice a while back, which is kind of cool actually. I was a little bit like, let's just put it out, and then she kind of got me hyped on it, so I'm excited to see what she does with that. She's doing some cool effects and stuff. So yeah. Oh, and also on the first music video, people were complimenting me on the shot choices and or edits or whatever, and the visual effects. Saw actually did most of the visual effects. There's a few that are tracked and stuff like that. I haven't taught her to track anything yet. So yeah, the tracked in, any that are like rotoed, so they have like move behind something, those are me, but most of them were Saw, and the edit was all Saw. So she's getting, and I'm really excited for this next music video because she did some really cool stuff with the edit. I'm excited about her, how she's expanding that stuff. And yep, that's about all I got. See you tomorrow.